Hi, it's Christy here, and welcome back to Spacious Success. In today's episode, I'm taking you behind the scenes of a really personal moment in my life. It's what I call my code red moment. The day my body pulled more or less, the emergency brake on my so-called success. If you've ever pushed yourself to the brink, or maybe you're on the precipice of burnout right now, then this one's for you. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with the tools to spot the early warning signs, the exact red flags, the stress signals that I wished I'd recognised sooner. And I'm going to share the strategies to reset before you hit burnout. All right, let's dive in. Hi, I'm Dr. Christy Goodwin, a Neuro-Performance scientist, speaker, and executive coach who learned the hard way that chasing success can come at a cost. After burnout landed me in hospital, I made it my mission to help ambitious women who are done trading their health and happiness for high performance. On Spacious Success, I share science-backed strategies and real stories to help you flourish as a female at work and beyond so you can stop paying the success tax. It was early 2020. Remember those weeks at the beginning of the pandemic when people were literally fighting over toilet paper in the supermarket aisles? Do you remember you would disinfect your groceries when they were delivered to your door before you put them away? Crazy those times. Well, back then, my husband had conveniently been deemed an essential worker. He'd proudly trot off to work each day, declaring that he was keeping the economy going. Meanwhile, I was stuck at home with 3 boys in tow. I was not only trying to resurrect a speaking career that had been, if I'm honest, completely decimated overnight with lockdowns and restrictions, I was also attempting, and I use that word very loosely, I was attempting to homeschool our 3 sons. Well, 2 of them anyway, 1 was just a toddler. Anyone else still twitch at the thought of homeschooling? And it wasn't just the schoolwork or the weeks locked inside the 4 walls. I was doing what I now call the digital pirouette. I didn't like the word pivot, spinning my whole business model on its axis. I was delivering virtual keynotes from my kitchen table, often with the kids on the other side, supposedly doing their school homework. I was feeding kids endless snacks. I was trying to stop them from climbing the curtains. All I remember is that it was chaos. To illustrate how chaotic it was, one day I was about to present a webinar to one of Australia's biggest banks. Big stakes moment, huge visibility, a real hold it together moment, Christy. Except my middle son Billy had discovered Zoom filters on his online lesson. And so I got on to deliver this webinar, and not only did I appear on the screen as Elsa from Frozen, he'd also thought it'd be funny to change my name, and I delivered the entire webinar as Stinky Bum Bum. Delivering a high-stakes webinar as Elsa, aka Stinky Bum Bum, well, it was funny, people laughed, the very forgiving banking people said it was a great equalizer, but underneath it was stressful. You see, this wasn't my breaking point, but it was just another layer of stress, stacked on years and years of poor sleep and chronic stress. It was stacked onto an already frazzled nervous system, on top of all the whispers that I'd heard for years from my body to slow down, but the whispers that I kept ignoring. You see, my body, it had been keeping score. Not long after this Elsa banking moment, I woke up in a hospital code red emergency ward, hooked up to machines, including a ventilator. You see, I'd suffered from repeated uncontrollable seizures, and here's how it happened. I contracted COVID early in the pandemic, back when people were still hoarding the toilet paper kind of days. As a fit, vaccinated woman with no underlying health issues in her early 40s, if I'm honest with you, I thought COVID would be a blip on the radar. It would be a minor, mild health incident. Honestly, I was secretly hoping to binge watch Netflix in bed and have my husband deliver me chicken soup. Neither of which took place, but a girl can dream. Instead, our Great Dane Tommy found me convulsing on the floor early one Wednesday morning around 3 a.m. He barked so loudly until my husband woke up and found me and called an ambulance. The doctors ran every test imaginable. And after extensive testing, the only reason that they could come up with as to why I was so sick with COVID was that I was burnt out. They told me this took hold because your system was completely depleted, completely stripped. You see, years of chronic stress had caught up with me. It wasn't just COVID, it was burnout. Burnout wearing a mask. My body had finally pulled the emergency brake. Because, as I often tell my clients, your body is always keeping score, and your body never lies. I have learned that there's a truth about a success trap. I wasn't just stressed, I was paying what I now call the success tax, when ambition simply just outruns your biology, when you sacrifice your sleep, your health, your relationships in your relentless pursuit of doing it all. When success costs more than you ever meant for it to pay. And the worst part, I arrogantly, maybe even ignorantly, thought that I could outrun depletion with discipline. I believed that I could just keep going, I could push on. Even though I deliver keynotes and write about how we can't outperform our biological blueprint, if I'm really honest with you, the uncomfortable truth is I wasn't walking my talk. I thought I could do what so many of us have been conditioned to do. And I adopted the cordial advice of the 1980s, and I soldier on. Do you remember this song?
You haven't caught the flu, you should be back in bed, but you have to soldier on with cordial, soldier on.
This taxed my body. I was living off a cocktail of caffeine and cortisol most days. But our biology, well, it always collects. And I'm not alone. Deloitte research shows that 53% of women in senior roles feel burned out. 43% of women say that they're always on. And nearly half admit that they don't feel safe disclosing how much they're struggling. It's no longer quite quitting, it's quite cracking. And that's not performance, that's just survival with a salary. You see, I'd ignored the early warning signs that I was burnt out. And here's the tricky thing about burnout. It doesn't just hit all at once. It creeps in, little by little. And if you know what to look for, you can catch it early, before your body shuts down and does what mine did and pulls the emergency brakes. Some of the early red flags that I experienced and that my clients see as well, it can be things including trouble falling or staying asleep, or just full-blown insomnia, sleep difficulties, full stop. It's irritability, snapping at the people that you love, often over the most trivial, ridiculous things. It's digestive issues that come out of nowhere. They're the top 3 that I usually see. It's constant muscle tension, shoulders up around your ears, bone deep fatigue all of the time, even if you're lucky enough to have slept. It is emotional and physical exhaustion that no coffee can fix. It's becoming more cynical or detached from your work, feeling like, well, what's the point? It's forgetfulness. It's losing track of really simple things. It's just a state of fogginess. It's a decline in your motivation, or perhaps even socially withdrawing, not going out with your friends and declining dinner dates. It's neglecting your own self-care. It's feeling like you're achieving less no matter how hard you work. It can often be difficulties with focus. It can be emotional blunting, feeling just blah. That really good scientific description. If you're nodding along to a few of these, well, that's your system, your HOS, your human operating system, potentially waving a red flag. That's not weakness. I want you to know it's not laziness. It's biology. And when you catch it early, you can reset before you crash. You see, in that code red ward, I decided to rebuild my life. Coming out of that hospital, I made a pledge. I made a decision. No more high performance with a human cost. So here's some of the things that I started doing and what I now teach my coaching clients and the people that want results, but without burnout and exhaustion. I started to see recovery as a ritual. Rest became something that I scheduled. It wasn't a reward. I started to use NSDR, non-sleep deep rest. I took breaks in my day. Not huge ones. It wasn't an hour of doing the downward dog, 5 to 10 minutes here and there. I started to delay my morning coffee. Don't worry, I still had my coffee, but I just delayed it by an hour or so. I used simple breathing and sighing practices. Yes, we're going to unpack the science of sighing to regulate my stress in real time, because sometimes 3 sighs before a stressful meeting or before you pick your kids up from school can be enough to make a significant difference to your stress. I treated recovery as fuel, not fluff. And for the first time, I saw recovery as my right and my responsibility. It wasn't a reward. The second thing I did is I started tracking my biometric data. Here's the hard truth. You can't outrun your biology with ambition or caffeine. White knuckling your way to the top will leave you exhausted and depleted. And we know that. You can't build what I call a high-res life on a low battery body. And you absolutely can't redefine success if you're too tired to even think clearly. And here's something that I've never shared publicly. I had the data before I got sick. I'd been wearing a Whoop strap, which is a wearable device. I'd also tried an Oura ring, and I'd worn the Whoop device for several months before I landed in the code red ward. It had been warning me that I was powered down. I felt like a low-res version of myself, and my data certainly corroborated that. But I ignored it because the truth it showed me, well, it wasn't convenient. It told me that I was under-recovered, that my HRV, my heart rate variability, was tanking, that my sleep was dismal, both the quality and quantity, and that my system was simply stretched. But I ignored it, I brushed it off, because I didn't want to slow down. It was an inconvenient truth. The data didn't match the version of success that I was performing at and wanting to perform at, so I ignored it. I literally had the red flags on the app on my phone telling me I was powered down. But now, that same data is one of the most powerful tools in my performance toolkit and that of my clients. These days, I use my biometric data from my Whoop strap to make informed, intentional decisions about how I run my days and nights. It tells me when I need more rest to release the stress valve. It shows me the invisible impact of some of my habits like saunas, physical exercise, non-sleep deep rest. It reinforces what's working instead of just highlighting what's not working. I no longer see it as a guilt trip, but I see it as my dashboard, a way to partner with my body instead of just simply powering and pushing past it. Here's the truth. Your body is always listening, and it's not failure. Honouring your human operating system isn't something indulgent. It's not a luxury. And using data to protect and optimise your performance, that's power. The third thing I started doing was to seek support rather than being solo. I had to ask and accept more help. I stopped trying to do it all alone. I outsourced, I asked for help, I created systems, I began to delegate. Because sustainable success, I've realised, doesn't require suffering. It requires support. Stop reinforcing the belief that you have to grind and hustle your way to the top. You simply don't. The most confronting moment that came for me was that code red ward. Don't wait until your health suffers. Don't wait until your relationship breaks down. Don't wait for your code red moment to reset. You can choose to lead from your biology, not in spite of it. In that code red ward, there was a thin paper partition curtain between me and another patient. I could hear her gasping for air, calling out for her daughters. And then I heard her take the final breath of her life. The doctor pronounced her time of death. Her daughters didn't arrive in time to say goodbye. It was a devastating moment and one that I will never forget. It was terrifying because I thought, what if that happens to me? What if my boys grow up without their mum? What if my husband never figures out the password to the lunch order app? Or worse, the Netflix login. It's really strange, the random thoughts that you have in those moments. But here's what hit me the hardest. We don't have unlimited time, energy, and attention. I had to confront the harsh reality that I'd almost paid the absolute ultimate success tax by compromising my health and well-being in the pursuit of my goals. If we're lucky, we get about 4,000 weeks. That means we have 4,000 Sundays in our entire lifetime. That's it. And that moment forced me to examine a truth. I wasn't really living. I was just grinding it out, hoping to catch my breath later. And later, well, it almost didn't come. You don't have to pay a success tax when you learn to work in harmony with what I call your human operating system, your HOS. This is what I share in my keynotes and with my coaching clients. Because I have learned that you were designed and you deserve to flourish, not flounder. You get a choice. You can choose to lead from your biology, not in spite of it. You don't have to pay a success tax. I'm living proof of that now. So, what's next? In the next episode, we're talking about the stress superstorm. Yes, I see so many women experiencing this. It's the hidden trifecta of biology, beliefs, and bias that are burning out brilliant women just like you. I'm going to share with you why you're not weak, you're not lazy, and you're certainly not broken. You're just living in a system that was never designed for your brilliance, nor was it designed for your biology. Until then, remember this. Success should never ever require a hospital bed or an illness to get your attention. And if you're tired of paying a success tax, I want to assure you there is another way. You deserve sustainable, spacious, high-performance success. And this podcast, well, it's here to show you just how to do it. Thank you for listening. I'm Dr. Christy Goodwin, a Neuro-Performance scientist, speaker, author, and executive coach. Thank you for listening to Spacious Success. If my story resonated, please subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you know a friend, a girlfriend, a colleague, a neighbour, someone on the edge of their own code red moment, please share this episode with them. Because success without sacrifice, I want to tell you that it's not only possible, I actually think it's your birthright and it's baked into your biology. Thanks for listening.